Hello everybody, Jennifer Maker here. It's a beautiful day to learn how to layer cardstock for beginners. We're going to make 4 adorable layered and interchangeable cardstock designs with woodland animals. There's one for each season, but we'll also mix and match for different ideas. They come together really fast and add a little cottage decor wherever they go. Let's head on over to the craft table and we will get started. Layer designs like these are so much fun to make and really so very easy. That's why we've made so many of them together in lots of different styles. I love how relatively simple the pieces are for these 3D woodland animals. They're a great starter project if you're learning how to align shapes and experiment with different papers. And since they're a bit smaller than a lot of other layered projects, you can put a few together on a wall or shelf. They look really nice that way. Now I've made a scene for each season and sweet little creatures to go with each one. There's a mouse, a chipmunk, a skunk, and this charming little fox. But what if you're not, say, a fan of skunks in your home decor? Don't worry, the animals cut separately from the scenes, so they're totally interchangeable, as are all the backgrounds. And since the project really focuses on paper, high quality cardstock is important for these cuties. I used many different colors for each animal, but you can mix it up. You can use whatever you want. The big pieces need 12 by 12 inch paper, but the animals can be cut from smaller paper if you find a style you just love. To create the depth between layers, I'll show you when I prefer to use double-sided adhesive foam dots and when I stick with the craft glue. The ready-made 9 by 9 inch frame in my materials list fits these perfectly. Now some alcohol and a lint-free cloth, like a coffee filter, is helpful to clean the glass. And laying down some butcher paper can also help keep the frame clean and scuff-free during assembly. Now since we're sticking to cardstock, the tools are really quite simple. I cut everything on my Cricut Maker 3, but you can use the original Maker or any of the Cricut Explorers too. I'll show you how to make everything using a standard fine point blade that came with your machine. And I used a green standard grip mat for everything. And a brayer will help you secure the paper to your mat. And then you can want some tools like the spatula to help you remove all of the delicate pieces. Now all you need are the free designs. So let me show you where to find those and then we'll be ready to make some new forest friends. Step 1. Get my free 3D woodland animal files. Go to jennifermaker.com/436 and look for libraries in the red bar at the top. Then either click Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. You can find the designs on the page by searching for design number 436 and then click it to download the zip file. You can cut these designs by hand with the printable PDFs I've supplied, but it's much easier to use the SVG files with a Cricut cutting machine. I'll show you how to do that in this video. In the SVG folder, there are also folders for the full seasonal scenes or for the animals just by themselves. I'll show you how to make the winter mouse file or how to replace him with the fox. Upload the SVG file or files of your choice to Cricut Design Space and add them to your canvas. I'll add the winter mouse from the full scenes folder and the fox from the animals alone folder. If you're unsure how to do this, go to jennifermaker.com/svgs to learn how to unzip and upload files. Step 2. Prepare the design files. This is what my winter mouse and standalone fox SVG files look like when they're uploaded to Cricut Design Space. If, like me, you have more than one file on your canvas, click and drag one to the side so they're both visible. The full design is sized for the 9 by 9 inch frame. I'm going to leave my design this size, but if you need to resize it to fit your frame, click Select All in the top menu, then make sure the lock icon is closed and change the W field to your desired size for the project's width. I'm going to leave mine as it is, so I'll click the undo arrow a few times to get back to what I had. So like I said, the animals are interchangeable. So we can replace the mouse with the fox. It's super easy. To do this, click the Winter Mouse design and select Ungroup at the top of the Layers panel to work with the sections separately. In the Layers panel, select the name of the group with all of the mouse layers. Then click Delete. Now drag the fox to where the mouse was to see how the final result will look. Drag it between the other two groups in the Layers panel to get the right order. It will be super cute. The design is ready to cut. Step 3. Cut your designs. Make sure the correct machine is selected in the top right and click Make It. I used 8 different colors of cardstock for my fox and winter background: white, gray, black, orange, brown, yellow, tan, and teal. You can choose whatever colors you like to make realistic or fantastic scenes. Just be sure there's enough contrast between each color so you can see the layers. If you're using the same cardstock as I am, make sure the material size is 12 by 12 for everything. Click back on the first mat and click Continue. On the Make screen, I use the Cardstock for Intricate Cut setting for all of my mats. To find it, click Browse All Materials and type Intricate in the search bar. Then select the results and click Apply. Leave the pressure at default. Now it's important to note that Cricut Design Space doesn't cut your mats in the same order as your design, so make sure you have the right colors in the order on the screen. For more on how Cricut Design Space decides on the cut order, check out my tutorial on mat order over at jennifermaker.com/Cricut mat order cut Cricut order. My layers cut well on a green standard grip machine mat, but if you have any trouble getting clean cuts, you could also try the blue light grip mat. Place your first color face up on the mat and use a brayer to make sure it's fully adhered. Check that your fine point blade is clean and in clamp B. Then load the mat into your machine and press the flashing button to begin cutting. When the cut is finished, unload the mat, flip it over, and roll it back to release the cardstock. This helps prevent the material from curling and ripping. Place the cut pieces to the side, face up, just as they are on the screen so their orientation doesn't get mixed up. Repeat the same steps for the rest of the mats. The mats with details will take longer to cut, so be patient. You can slide your spatula gently under those pieces to remove them from the mat without tearing. Step 4. Assemble the layers. Here's what all of my cut pieces for the winter scene and the fox look like. We'll assemble the project in 3 groups to make placing the animal easier. If you're using the same shadow box from my material list, remove the backing and the inner wooden piece. You can put butcher paper down on your work surface to protect the frame if you like. Clean the glass with alcohol wipes and a coffee filter or lint-free cloth. Put the open frame face down. First, we'll assemble the back section, which has 3 pieces: the sky, ground, and fire. Place them on top of each other, face down, with the back layer on top. You can use a corner of the shadow box to line up your layers. Place the background layer face up in the frame so it's tight with one corner. Now apply adhesive foam dots every few inches on the back of each piece. Start with the ground layer, then flip it over and place it on top of the background, making sure the corner lines up. Then add the fire piece. You can use the screen as a reference if it helps with placement. Now for the animal. The fox has 5 pieces. Place them on top of each other, face down, with the back layer on top. Now, since it's an odd shape, you can't use the frame to align the edges, but the cheeks are a good feature to line up. I used foam dots for the larger layers and craft glue for the top white layers. Isn't she adorable? And finally, the front, which just has 2 pieces. Stack the front pieces face down side by side. You could remove the other layers from the frame to use the corner alignment method again if you like. Apply the adhesive foam dots every few inches on the back of the front layer. Flip it over and place it on top of the other layer. Now we'll put them all together. Stack the assembled sections face up to get the layout you want. You can stack them in the frame to help with the alignment if you like. Note where the animal's back and top layers touch the next sections, because that's where you'll add foam dots to bring the layers together. We'll attach the background and front layers around the sides, but check where they will touch too. Place adhesive foam dots on the back of the fox in the areas you picked. Place it on top of the background using your screen for a reference. Only press down gently for now in case you need to adjust it. Now place adhesive foam dots on the back of the top section. You might need to stack some foam pieces to make up for the space between some touch points. Place it on top of the others. Again, only press lightly in case you need to adjust anything. Once it looks right, press everything down. Step 5. Add your layers to the shadow box. Take out the assembled layers to check for smudges or dust in the shadow box. Wipe down the glass again with alcohol wipes and a lint-free cloth if needed. Add a few foam dots around the edges and in the middle of the assembled pieces back. Then flip the design over and line it up over the smooth surface of the backer. If there's hanging hardware, make sure your fox will face the right way. Press it down when it looks right. Place the design and backer in the shadow box and close it up. The mouse, chipmunk, and skunk go together just like the fox. The mouse has 5 pieces. Place them on top of each other face down with a back layer on top. I used the ears and tails to help with alignment. I used foam dots for the larger layers and craft glue for the top white, stick, and the marshmallow. The chipmunk has 4 pieces. Place them on top of each other face down. I used the ears and cheeks to help with alignment. I used foam dots for the larger layers and craft glue for the top tan. The skunk has 4 pieces. Place them on top of each other face down. I used the ears and feet to help with alignment. I used foam dots for the larger layers and craft glue for the top white. Such a fast, cute project, don't you think? I love how they go together so quickly like little puzzles. And since you can swap the elements, you can decorate for every season. If you don't want to use the frame that I purchased, you could try a different one or display the scenes unframed. I made the large pieces the same sizes so it looks nice and clean even on its own. You could also try making a DIY cardstock frame using the one that is in my layered cardinal project as a starting point. It's available at jennifermaker.com/cardinalsvg. And if you love the little critters as much as I do, you can certainly make them on their own. You could sneak them into other designs, add one to a card, or just place them in a sneaky little spot for a fun surprise. Now, if you have any questions about this project, please let me know. Leave your question below this video or ask over at our Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters. And I would love to see your finished projects over there too. And that's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.